Hello and welcome back to Digital Assets Daily. We hope that you're having a great morning, afternoon, or evening in your corner of the world. We're going to get right in with Deutsche Börse. Swisscom settle securities with Corda Hyperledger. German securities marketplace Deutsche Börse and Swiss state-run telecom Swisscom have settled securities transactions using different blockchain protocols. In a joint proof-of-concept POC involving a number of banks, the participants exchanged money in the form of cash tokens against tokenized shares. Deutsche Börse officially announced on November 19, based on blockchain technology, the joint POC intends to show the potential of new technologies in the financial services sector and maintain Germany and Switzerland's expertise in the digital asset ecosystem. 3 major banks participated in the POC, and Corda and Hyperledger were used for cross-chain secure settlement. In order to process cash and securities tokens, the participants were deploying 2 different distributed ledger technology (DLT) protocols, R3's Corda and IBM's Hyperledger Fabric, to complete cross-chain secure settlement. Other participants of the POC included Swiss blockchain from Dora and Custodigit, a joint custodial venture by Swisscom and Signum. The firms provided core elements of the digital share registry for the POC. Deutsche Börse noted the new initiative by Deutsche Börse and Swisscom is another milestone in the existing blockchain-related collaboration of the companies. Earlier this year, Deutsche Börse Group and Swisscom partnered with Singapore-based fintech firm Signum to develop compliant financial market infrastructure for digital assets. Next, we have Fidelity Digital Asset Services, now authorized to operate crypto custody platform. Fidelity Digital Asset Services, LLC, the FDAS, has procured a charter from the New York State Department of Financial Services, the NYDFS, to operate a virtual currency custody and execution platform. Per a November 19 press release, the NYDFS authorized FDAS to operate as a limited liability trust company and run a cryptocurrency custody and execution platform where both institutional investors and individuals can store, buy, sell, and transfer Bitcoin, BTC. Again, all of these links will be in the description below. Feel free to further read the details into these headlines and stories. Next up, we find FEMA Advisory Board proposes blockchain to speed disaster dividend payouts. And that should be very helpful when people are in need during a disaster moment to have instantaneous funds. America's Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, is considering a blockchain registry to speed up disaster relief payments. The proposal by America's Disaster Response Mitigators comes via a draft text of the National Advisory Council's, the NAC, November report published on Monday. NAC's recommendation builds on a federal history of considering blockchain applications in disaster relief. Last December, the Department of Defense's Defense Logistics Agency, DLA, unit met to discuss how blockchain could have helped the post-Maria effort in Puerto Rico. The advisory body's draft text asks FEMA Administrator Peter Gaynor to first launch a blockchain pilot program for land registries. The NAC argued that blockchain could simplify and improve the speed of government payouts communities rely on in the wake of natural disasters. In many disasters, such as Hurricanes Maria in Puerto Rico or Harvey in Texas, affected communities may lose the type of information needed to file a claim, such as policy documents, land ownership records, and personal identification, among others, the draft said. By piloting a blockchain-based registry in this manner, FEMA can catalyze sector engagement and develop technology-enabled use cases that can improve the speed of disaster responses and insurance claim payments without sacrificing accuracy or increasing the risk of fraud. Also, we have new Ripple-based remittance service launching. Will crypto asset XRP be utilized? I believe we did discuss this yesterday or in a previous video, but let's go back into this because it is still very important recent news. SBI Ripple Asia and SBI Remit, a cross-border funds transfer platform that operates as a subsidiary of the Japanese financial giant SBI Holdings, are launching a new payments service between Japan and Vietnam. The new transfer platform will run on RippleNet with the Tianfong Commercial Joint Stock Bank, a Vietnamese financial institution, on board. According to a release, the CEO of SBI Holdings and Ripple board member Yoshitaka Kitao says new remittance services utilizing crypto assets will be released in the future. But he doesn't specify whether the new remittance corridor between Japan and Vietnam will include the use of digital asset XRP. But I can tell you, knowing the history of SBI, Ripple, and Yoshitaka Kitao, it will be used. Although they may label it or go by the new label ODL, or on-demand liquidity, instead of physically stating XRP. The booming Vietnamese economy is one of the most attractive markets around the world. TP Bank, which the SBI Group has invested in 2009, owns a 19.9% share and has achieved steady accumulation of loans and non-interest income, such as settlement services, by actively utilizing cutting-edge technologies. The adoption of RippleNet will further differentiate the company from its competitors. We will also develop remittance services that incorporates crypto assets in the future. The number of Vietnamese residents in Japan has quadrupled over the last 5 years to around 330,835, according to the Japan Times. CEO of Tianfong Bank, Nguyen Hyung, says, our cooperation with SBI Ripple Asia on the application of blockchain technology and cross-border money transfers marks an important turning point in enhancing our customer experience and makes international money transfers via TP Bank faster, more convenient, and safer than ever before. HSBC Bank USA now offers business clients the ability to send and receive payments in real time. HSBC Bank USA NA, HSBC, announced today the launch of real-time payments capabilities on the RTP. RTP is the real-time payment network that allows business and institutional clients of all sizes to pay and be paid immediately with enhanced convenience and security. With the latest enhancement in HSBC's implementation of the RTP network, these clients began sending real-time payments this morning, having been able to receive real-time payments since July 2019. The RTP network is developed by the clearinghouse, TCH, and its owner banks, including HSBC. HSBC is using the RTP network to provide business and institutional clients with payment functionality that supports activities such as just-in-time cash management, instant delivery of payroll, and immediate customer refunds. The RTP network is also available to HSBC's individual customers when receiving payments from businesses and other individuals. As digital banking and e-commerce are embraced around the world, people expect to move money just as fast as they are able to check their account balance or buy a new app for their mobile phone, said Drew Douglas, head of global liquidity and cash management for the United States and Canada. HSBC, our customers, from individual checking account holders to multinational corporations, are now able to receive payments at the speed of modern life. Now our U.S. business clients can send RTP payments, and our retail customers soon will be able to do the same. The rollout of capabilities for HSBC's consumer customers to send payments via the RTP network is expected to be completed early in 2020. And I'm going to stop right there because I think that's important to know a date. Feel free to read further. The links will be provided below. Again, keep the 2020 date in mind. UK law panel defines crypto assets as property. A panel of senior British judges and lawyers has moved to clarify the legal status of cryptos, currencies, and smart contracts. So I think this is something also that we discussed yesterday. Coming back to 2020, we have article here for Ripple at Scale 2020. And I apologize, we're going to go through this one very detailed. If it is too long for you, I'm trying to keep these as short as possible, but some of these I am unable to. My apologies now. Okay, we're going into the global banking system is in search of faster, more secure, real-time gross settlement. Let me see if I can check something really quick. Just as an importance to this. This was from June 29, 2017. I just want to reiterate that really quick because it all comes back to these deadlines of 2020. Okay, now knowing that this is written from June 29, 2017, I'm going to read through this so it can have the importance I believe it deserves. The global banking system is in search of faster, more secure, real-time gross settlement (RTGS) networks to increase efficiency and save money. And boy, do they need it. Ripple software provides a RTGS use case for cross-border payments as well as remittance and corporate disbursements. They are currently on advisory boards with the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the U.S. Federal Reserve, Fed, and are trialing their Interledger Protocol, ILP, with the Bank of England, BOE, which has been developed with input from the World Wide Web Consortium and Internet Engineering Task Force. And then if you're watching on your screen, you see their little diagram. But we're going to quickly scroll past that. Again, you will have these sources available in the description below. The U.S. Federal Reserve, as of May 17, 2017, Ripple is the only distributed ledger technology, DLT, company on the U.S. Federal Reserve's Faster Payment Task Force, the FPTF, Steering Committee. Of course, DLT will not be the only solution, and being on the steering committee does not in itself guarantee adoption. I'm going to zoom in a little bit in case you are looking on your phone or personal computer to make it easier for you to read as well. The Federal Reserve has been very clear that their goal is to let the market naturally decide what solutions deserve market share. However, Ripple is obviously doing everything it can to position itself as a leading solution. Other members of this task force that are not on the steering committee include representatives from Goldman Sachs, IBM, JP Morgan, Citi, Barclays, BNY Mellon, BBVA Compass, Morgan Stanley, Visa, MasterCard, Verizon, NASA, BAFT, the IRS, and the FDIC, to name a few of the 300-plus organizations participating. And you know today that all of those are actually working with Ripple still currently. Their January 2017 progress report states that 22 proposals have been submitted by task force participants, with 19 progressing through participant review. It has also been stated that with the U.S. financial system being the largest and most complex of any country, they will not be relying on a single solution. The Federal Reserve System plans to release proposals for real-time payment systems around mid-year. Anytime now, we should be seeing their second report. We have the Faster Payments Task Force roster, which I'm going to scroll right through. I did it slowly so you can see. The group has identified 6 effectiveness criteria for the next generation RTGS networks: ubiquity, efficiency, safety, and security, speed, legal, and governance. In ubiquity, they want accessibility, usability, and cross-border functionality as a software implementation designed to comply with ISO 20022, the messaging standard to be used in the U.S. as decided by the Fed. Ripple has been strategically developing their solution to satisfy the requirements of the next generation of RTGS. They even offer the service of making any bank's current messaging system compliant with ISO 20022 so that it can run Ripple's solution as mentioned. Ripple is heavily focused on the cross-border payments use case. Efficiency. Among the sub-criteria are payment format standards, scalability and adaptability, and implementation timeline. I'm going to change this so as not to confuse. The first ISO 20022 we already covered. Ripple's long-term goal is to create the Internet of Value, the IOV, where value can move as fast as information. Critical tools in accomplishing this are the XRP ledger and ILP. ILP is capable of handling throughput on par with Visa, setting it far apart from Bitcoin and Ethereum, which both are currently dealing with scaling issues. Using the payment channels function, scaling to 50,000 transactions per second can be achieved. ILP defines adaptability in the new age of cryptocurrencies. It is a protocol enabling every distributed ledger to become connected to every other one. As far as an implementation timeline, Ripple already has banks operating on the live Ripple network and are onboarding many more this year. Details on that are discussed further down. Safety and security, risk management, payment finality, and handling disputed payments are among the Fed's concerns in this category. In a study published in June 2017 by Purdue University entitled Mind Your Credit, Assessing the Health of the Ripple Credit Network, the researchers stated that the core of the network, 10,000 wallets, is highly resilient. They did point out that around 50,000 wallets are at risk of losing connection with the main Ripple network if as few as 10 highly connected wallets were to be disrupted. They did, however, point out that this can be viewed as a good thing, to identify any issues now so that Ripple can hopefully address them sooner than later. In the meantime, if the findings of the study worry you, you can offline your holdings to a hardware wallet to ensure full ownership. I personally use Ledger. Please research the best option for yourself and know what you are doing before you transmit any value to an offline storage solution. Regarding payment finality, if the validators of the network do not include a transaction in a consensus round, it can simply be picked up in the next. Validators currently listed on Ripple's website include Microsoft, MIT, CGI, Talendis, BitGo, the exclusive provider of multi-sig wallets for the Ethereum IRA, at Tokyo, GateHub, and WorldLink. For a great explanation of the Ripple Consensus Ledger, watch this video. And there's a link if you do click it in the article. The speaker is David Schwartz, the chief cryptographer for Ripple, and currently he is the CTO, who previously worked for the National Security Agency, the NSA, where the secure hash algorithms used for cryptocurrency were developed. Speed. Ripple transactions have two wait times of 2 seconds each, and the actual code execution takes about a second to complete. We are entering an age where you will be able to transmit value across the globe, have it turned into another form of value, and post to the recipient's count in 5 seconds. As Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse has put it, I don't think you can make a horse and buggy keep up with a race car. Legal. Considering the aforementioned associations Ripple has, this section should require no explanation. It is interesting to note, though, that several years ago Ripple Labs was fined by the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, for not registering with them, as well as not having an adequate anti-money laundering program in place. Fast forward 2 years, it is apparent they have since heeded the call and then some, actively seeking out dialogue with regulators and receiving New York's first BIT license for an institutional use case of digital assets. And to add to that, it was the FinCEN settlement in 2015 that actually the U.S. government labeled XRP as a currency. Governance. Effective and Inclusive Governance, a December 2016 report from the Fed singled out ILP, summarizing that an open interoperability standard like the Interledger Protocol, ILP, could spur further innovation and adoption of DLT-based systems for cross-border payments. The Global Payments Steering Group is comprised of the following institutions: Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Santander, UniCredit, Standard Chartered, Westpac Banking Corporation, CIBC, and Royal Bank of Canada. And as you know, they're still working with all of these groups. Bank of America has their Ripple in their patent. The RBC is currently still working with them on many other transactions, and we know that Standard Chartered is a huge thing for them, working in Asia as well as the London-based areas. The group will oversee the creation and maintenance of Ripple payment transactions rules, formalize standards for activity using Ripple and other actions to promote implementation of Ripple payment capabilities as our network continues to grow. This is Ripple's Governance Advisory Board. IMF and BOE. The International Monetary Fund has engaged Ripple in discussion by including them as a member of their high-level advisory group. The group will provide advice to help IMF staff deepen its understanding of fintech issues. It will work closely with the IMF's Interdepartmental Working Group on Finance and Technology, which was established in 2016 to study the economic and regulatory implications of developments in the area of finance and technology. Then we have another chart here, and we're going to scroll past that back to the important information. The BOE wants to allow a variety of financial firms to compete with the major high street banks that currently have access to the high-speed payment system, which handles 500 billion pounds or 647 billion USD of transactions a day. The BOE plans to have most of its RTGS upgrades completed by 2020, which would be next year. And that date is consistent in everything that I have written, that I have read, that has been written in regards to Ripple. And stated that they would set out such plans by mid-2017 designed to integrate DLT. This timeline is very similar to the one given by Ryan Zagone, Ripple's Director of Regulatory Relations and representative on the Fed's FPTF Steering Committee. In a webinar, Zagone says they plan to be at scale by 2021 or earlier. Earlier is the 2020 deadline, and 2021 is the next cycle in which I say the peak bull run will be affecting us. As people say, moonshot. With a full-scale commercial deployment taking 3 to 6 months to integrate Ripple Connect into a bank's infrastructure. according to Patrick Griffin, Ripple's SVP of Business Development. Multiple service providers. Could competition leave Ripple without a seat at the table? There is about $27 trillion in banks' float accounts across the globe to fight over. About 4% of this represents more than 100 times Ripple's current market cap. So there seems to be room for several players. Ripple also seems to be a bit quicker out of the gate with 75 contracts with banks already, and more coming to Ripple. Additionally, it is worth noting that Crypto Fund AG is launching the cryptocurrency fund that will include Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple, as well as some other large cap altcoins. Following the Bitcoin Ethereum IRAs, this may be one of the first steps in moving cryptocurrencies towards other mainstream investment vehicles such as ETFs, hedge funds, etc. The fund is planned to launch in Q4 2017, available to qualified investors. And we have, why would banks use XRP? Some have referred to XRP as a scam coin, since Ripple hasn't yet distributed the majority of the total 100 billion XRP to alleviate fears that Ripple would irrationally or selfishly flood the market and drive the current price down. They will be placing 55 billion XRP in escrow, cryptographically locking it away under terms described on their website. Ripple couldn't reverse this even if they wanted to. Excuse me. The minimum funds required for banks to maintain their Nostro accounts represent an opportunity cost. These funds are tied up and cannot be used to generate income. If banks exchange currency via XRP, these funds would be entirely freed. If they were to use one pool of XRP instead of multiple Nostro accounts, it would allow them to allocate less liquidity for the same volume. Intermediaries are reduced. Only one account to XRP would be needed, and they would only need to hold enough XRP to cover their largest expected payment obligation. The network transaction fee has been consistently less than 1/1000th of a dollar. Ripple itself can save banks $18 billion annually. Adding XRP in the mix saves $23 billion, 6.8 BPS and 8.8 BPS on 26.5 trillion in annual cross-border payments volume, respectively. Once at scale, projected savings rise to $33 billion. XRP is optional, but if it saved your business money, wouldn't you use it? Ripple has currently deployed its solution in 9 countries and is expanding into 16 more this year. And after hearing that, I believe you can see the extent of how amazing and huge this opportunity is going to be. I believe it's going to be larger than we can even imagine at this point, so you can understand why they are manipulating this currency at the extreme rates in which they are. Shaking off loose hands, as they say, means they pay off less and have an even extended greater ROI on their investment into XRP, now known as on-demand liquidity, ODL. So I hope that after hearing all of this information, and especially to the extent in which we just did, I felt every single bit of that was important, because that was from 2017. Today, at the end of 2019, coming up on the deadline, which is stated everywhere, of 2020, is only weeks away. So be patient and hold your investment, and know that the future is only getting brighter, and I hope this was enough to reassure you in your confidence that you made the right choice. But again, this is not investment advice. We're not financial advisors. We're here for entertainment purposes only. And I hope you're having a great night, and we'll catch you in the next one.